All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is February 17th, 2023, 9:20 a.m. TGIF. It is Friday, baby. Here we go. Friday, another Friday, alive on planet Earth. Thank you all so much for being here. We have a lot to talk about because the market is now beginning to open. First of all, thank you everybody who joined the Palantir Weekly podcast last night. That was a fun podcast. We talked at the end for 40 minutes about buying corporate debt, and that was people stayed to listen to us buy corporate debt, so that was fun and interesting. But it was a great podcast. We had some awesome guests, and we were able to talk all about Palantir. But here we go. It's Friday, and it's market open time, and I'm very, very excited for all of you being here. Joseph, what's up? Jackalope, what's up? Iceman, Reza, I am first because I like first. I love it. David, morning. So interesting. Elon doesn't want to start linking Ukraine anymore. Perfect timing for Palantir Skykit to get to work. We're going to talk about Palantir and Skykit being in Ukraine. Gabe, hey, I have that shirt too. Yep, we both have this shirt because we both went to Vegas. OMG, just saw you like 8 hours ago. Admit, I will stay in your feed forever. Dex, morning. Alvarado, Uriel, D Splash, Tashi, Dario, your profile pic looks legit. Will there be a SoFi Weekly? Yes, on Tanner's channel, not on my channel because I'm going to be gone today. But Tanner will be hosting it. Seth, what's up? Tashi, Cash King, Amit, will you buy M-Phase at $23 billion market cap? I'm looking at M-Phase to like 180. That would be the time I begin DCing. Sasky, what's up? Astronaut Ray, what's up? Loving the ups and downs. Oh, hi. I told you go to Brooklyn and not live. But Boston, Vincent. I'm going to Boston at 11:50 today. So I have like 2 hours until I have to get on a bus and go to Boston. All right, let's take a look at what's going on in the markets. There is definitely some red from yesterday. I mean, Tesla dropped about 5% yesterday, kind of randomly in the middle of the day at like 3 p.m. Tesla's at 201 right now. It was at 198 a little bit before, down 5.69% yesterday. So randomly dropped 12 points, and that drop influenced a lot of other drops. Palantir also went down. So it was at 960, down another 1%. It was down 4% yesterday after being in the highs of 10s, or 1020, 1030. So we do have a bunch of stocks that went down. Bitcoin went down from 24,000 down to 23,800. Coinbase up just a little bit. Roku, still phenomenal earnings, up 3% in the pre-market. Nvidia is down. Amazon is down. Shopify got just hammered, and it is down. Kathy Wood bought another 600,000 shares of Shopify due to it being down. So she actually had a really good buy and sell. She bought it sell at like $55, and now she bought it at $44. So she actually played it pretty well. Google's down a little bit. S&P to 408. We are still above 400 on the S&P, which still blows my mind every time I see it because it's just, we were stuck in the 380s for so long, but now we're there. Apple is down slightly. Spotify down slightly. Market rather flat in the morning. Nothing crazy, but some stocks down a little bit more than before. I think Tesla dropped because the FSD recall. Yeah, we covered that on the Daily Cabal today. It wasn't really like a recall per se. I mean, they're just issuing a software update and changing a lot of things. So the media definitely painted that in a very interesting narrative. But it, I mean, look, they got a lot of clicks. When you say Tesla's to recall cars, all the Tesla, haters basically have to then cry and say you should not invest in this company because this company is recalling cars, when in reality that's just not the case. Also, it's the price of innovation. You're going to make mistakes. It is the price of innovation, and overall the people who don't innovate are the ones that lose. The people who make some mistakes and bumps on the road, they have some mistakes and bumps on the road. Here we go. Palantir. Ukrainian armed forces are using the Skykit that Palantir developed, which proves another case study that they only launched this product after realizing that it actually works, because they were able to give it to the Ukrainians. The system is designed to enable soldiers to efficiently process intelligence, decision-making, and perform operations from remote locations using software from Palantir. It allows users to set tasks and analyze data from anywhere on the battlefield. Skykit has its own secure satellite communications due to Skykit's meta constellation software. The Ukrainian soldier can connect to one of 40 commercial satellites, analyze data connected by various AI modules, and thus see the enemy. So it's a very strong targeting tool. Depending on intergovernmental agreements, Skykit can also access military satellites, such as the Pentagon's satellites. This is one of those things where we launched it. We were like, why is Palantir getting to hardware? And kind of what's the commercial use case for it? And then I think Sham tweeted a while ago that people have been using Skykit, and obviously it was Ukraine. So connecting with meta constellation and satellites in the sky to be able to perform data-driven decisions to then target the enemy. That is kind of the use case of something like a Skykit. And it's obviously been useful in a meaningful way. It uses edge AI as well because you can't connect to the internet in a lot of these remote locations. So you have to have AI at the edge to be able to do the operations you need to do in a location that just can't connect to the cloud as easily. So it's a big deal. And now the question is, can Palantir use this as a case study to sell it to more and more people? Which would be the big deal for us. When did FSD come out? Well, that's a good question. I mean, FSD has been around for a while, just like not, the perfect version of it. And I think they have 400,000 users on beta. Elon's been promising it would be done for a while, but again, people give him a lot of flack for that. To me, it's just like, look, it takes time. It's hard. He's the only one really trying to actually solve this problem, and you're gonna overpromise sometimes and not deliver, and that's just the nature of how it is. So we will see when it eventually comes out. But if any company is going to solve it, it's going to be Tesla. And again, I've switched my stance from skeptical of Tesla to complete bull on Tesla. I mean, there's just very few stocks in the market that I think have the potential that Tesla has, have the growth that Tesla has, and have all the different diverse kind of metrics, or not even metrics, diverse lanes of income that could become multi $100 billion companies over the next 10 years. It's one of those stocks where you want some part of your portfolio allocated to it. Like, you don't want to wake up in 2030 thinking you didn't have Tesla, And so to me, I've just turned much more bullish on it than I've ever been. But we still might be entering into a recessionary period. So I think we might have another buying opportunity for Tesla, just like we'll have for Palantir. Maybe not for Nerd's wallet that went from $7 to $18. But I think we may have more opportunities. Amazon down a little bit, Nvidia down. Socks must be up today, even though I'm not wearing any socks. Yeah, it's at 20. It's up. This is the triple leveraged Bear semiconductor ETF, up 1.6%. It was up 7% yesterday. So these perform inverse to the semis stocks. Pinterest is down. Shopify earnings were pretty good, but they beat EPS by 400%, beat revenue by 5%. The market did not care. I guess the market is just looking for something different. I think Shopify is more of a buy around the 27, 29 range. That becomes more attractive for Shopify, especially if you're just swing trading it. 44 still feels a little pricey given the forward PE. This would be awesome in Turkey. Yeah, Skykit in Turkey would be absolutely, that would be something that would be important for them to use. All right, so we have 2 minutes till the market opens. It was an interesting week this entire week. I think the biggest thing this week obviously was Palantir earnings, and it set I kind of feel like Palantir earnings maybe not, but it set the mood for the entire week as the market kind of rebounded into a nice little place. Obviously the market's down a little bit today, but it was one of those earnings where they proved they really have the ability to make a GAAP profitable quarter. And now the question is, can they sustain that momentum? And so that was interesting. I do think we will have another buying opportunity for Palantir at 7 or 8. I do think it's going to be harder though for it to get down there, because now it's like, when retail sees it go to 904, they're going to think, oh, this is a buying opportunity because it was just at 10, 20. So I do think retail is going to hold it up a little bit, but if we do get a massive sell-off, then, it's going to come down, just like a lot of stocks are going to come down, and there will be opportunities to buy. It'll be interesting to see how it holds up today on a Friday. Last Friday, it held up pretty decently. So this Friday, it's going to be interesting to see if the market sells it off. Snowflake down 2% pre-market. C3 AI down 3%. Now at $23. Robinhood, Uber, Pinterest, Etsy, all of these down in the pre-market. Beyond Meat. There you go. That's the Palantir partnership. Beyond Meat is up 0.58. So Meta also getting close down to 169. Meta now is 170. So it's losing a decent amount of gains that it had from earnings. Okay, here we go. It is Friday, February 17, 2023, 9:30 a.m. If you were on the Palantir Weekly podcast last night, in the beginning, you heard me do this. If you didn't, you're going to get to hear me do it again. The stock market, ladies and gentlemen, is now open. Wake your ass up. The stock market is open. Also, a little announcement. I will be in Boston this whole weekend. So if anyone is in Boston and wants to grab a coffee, let me know. I'll be around the Harvard area. Message me on Twitter at @AmitIsInvesting. Would love to get to meet some of you in person if you're actually in Boston. It would be super dope to see someone who watches the morning open and just like like record an iPhone video with you or something like that. It would be super cool. So if you're in Boston, let me know. I'll be there around the Harvard area. And yeah, coffee on me. You can get some. I don't drink coffee, but I'll probably take like a latte or something. But coffee on me for those who drink coffee. All right, Tesla 201 down 0.16%. Palantir down 1.44% at 957. Nerds Wallet $18 down 4%. Makes sense. Baba at $100. Charlie Munger's worst mistake apparently. Alibaba at $100. Twilio 74. Twilio had a phenomenal earnings, so Twilio doing not that bad, and a lot of people thinking a little bit more deeply about Twilio. 72 on Roku. Roku finally out of that $59 range, up on 72. 70 million new accounts and about 14 point something billion hours of streaming. So Roku had a pretty good year overall. We have Microsoft at 259. Wow, Microsoft at 259. It was just at 275. So they gave up pretty much all of the Chatgpt gains. The market said, nope, we don't care anymore. Meta at 171. SoFi at 686. SoFi dropped pretty hard. It was at 720 just a day or two ago. Robinhood at 1016, S&P at 405, so S&P down from 408 to start it off. Google at 95, holding flat at 95. Pinterest 24, Trade Desk 62, Arc Innovation at $41. Roku helping Arc maintain its weighting above $40. Nasdaq or Spotify at 123. Let's go to the Nasdaq. I'm going to guess 11.4. 11.4, 11.7. Okay, 11.7. So still up a little bit more, 11.7 down, just 0.62% in the pre-market. Snapchat. Oh, so Snapchat had their investor day yesterday. I'm not saying I'm going to buy Snapchat, but I also don't think it's undervalued at a $17 billion market cap. But some of their numbers were pretty impressive. They have 750 million monthly active users. People who use the product open it up 40 times a day. I mean, they have a compelling case, I think, for at least an argument for why they are potentially undervalued. They're trying to get to about 1 billion MAUs over the next couple of years. The problem is their advertising sucks. And Evan Spiegel talked a lot about advertising and how they're trying to make it a much more better experience. I would give them a quarter or two to prove they can really use their machine learning models to build out direct-to-response advertising that is effective on the app. Because if it's effective, their age demographic is perfect. I mean, like it's a really nice demographic for advertisers. It's just a question for, them to be able to actually execute that on the advertising lane. So we will see. Soros is buying Arc. Wow, that's interesting. So, well, it's good she sold out of Palantir because then he wouldn't be buying it. Who cares if they open it 40 times a day? They make $0. Yeah, and to me, it's if you're looking at Snapchat's long-term trajectory, it's like, okay, can they get people? It's a sticky product, is what I'm trying to say. If they can figure out the advertising model and find a way to make a profit, then 40 times a day is really attractive. But the profit part is the hard part. So that's, I think, what we're all looking for when it comes to Snapchat. But the investor day was interesting. The investor day was definitely interesting. See, come to London. Yeah, it would be super easy to just come to London. No, I can't come to London. One day I want to come to London. I saw this TikTok last night about this guy who goes to the UK though, and he like interviews people on what they hate about Americans. And that shit was hilarious, bro. He's like, what do you hate about Americans? They're like, I hate everything about the Americans. It's like, that was such a bad accent. I'm sorry. But they're like, the one girl did a white girl voice of like drinking Starbucks, and it was so funny because she still had her accent. So that was funny. Tesla rebounding at 0.967%. Palantir rebounding up a little bit, 963. Okay, so market up just a little bit from its lows, not at the absolute lows, but up just a little bit as we're seeing it. Netflix at 348 now as well. And Tesla back at 204. All right, so Tesla's figured out a way to rebound every single day somehow, some way, especially yesterday. Yesterday was a major rebound, but then it crashed a little bit in the pre-markets. All right, let's look at CNBC and let's see some of the thoughts they are saying. Let's listen to this, the Tesla recall. So let's get a little bit more thoughts on what this is going on. Bro, that was a perfect Bruno. Hey, Amit, are you still bullish on DNA? And if yes, are you accumulating more shares? I am bullish on DNA, not buying more shares. My logic has been a couple things. Number one, the macro is really shitty towards biotech. So I just wanted to get out of most biotechs. Number two is insiders have been selling off a decent amount of shares in Ginkgo. And they've been doing share offerings, which is really weird to me, given they already have so many shares outstanding. So I want to see next earnings. I mean, I'm very curious to see what the hell are they doing, because the insider selling on Ginkgo has been a little ridiculous given the stock has collapsed almost 90%. Like, why are you selling off your shares when the stock is down 90%? It doesn't make sense. And I want to see next earnings. Last earnings were not good because they weren't able to onboard too many new clients. So I want to see. I mean, I love the idea. I think it makes sense. I understand why Kathy bought 120 million shares, but I want to see some better earnings growth before I hop back in. I have 100 shares of Ginkgo, but that's it.
But joining us right now to talk about it is Tim Higgins. He's technology reporter at the Wall Street Journal and a CNBC contributor. And look, recalls happen all the time, Tim. How is this one significant, or is it more significant than others that we've heard?
Well, for years now, there's been questions about the safety or the capabilities of Tesla's ADAS systems. These systems that aren't fully self-driving, but they're more advanced in cruise control, the basic cruise control you have. Elon Musk has for years said that it improves the safety of the vehicles, but there have been critics out there saying that they lull drivers into thinking the car can do more than they can do. And so this NHTSA report, these findings suggest that there were some certain scenarios where the car might act in a way where the driver couldn't take over fast enough to avoid a crash or potentially break the law. So, fixing this in the software, a lot easier than, say, having to bring it into a car dealership like a Chevy would do and have to change mechanical things, have to put in new equipment or something like that. So, kind of in short, kind of a win for Tesla because it doesn't have to turn the system off. It doesn't have to do any mechanical changes, but a black eye because of the system's defaults.
What has Tesla said about the defaults? They agree with the government's assessment of it?
Well, they would disagree. They pushed back on the government with the government's findings, but went forward with the voluntary recall here, which is often the case in these things. When the NHTSA is going to do this, it's either do a voluntary or it can become much more messy down the road. So, going back to Tesla traditionally says that these systems are safer than what the human can do. That's, maybe perhaps in debate. Sometimes we don't understand where their data is coming from, but it gets to kind of the core of these systems. Are they about safety or are they about convenience? The criticism continues to be about Tesla and other systems like it, is that the driver thinks the system can do more than it is. It is not fully self-driving. The robot is not in control. The driver needs to be in control, needs to take back that wheel, needs to be engaged in the driving scenario. And oftentimes they get lulled into thinking the car is doing more than it actually is.
Were there any accidents involved with this?
Yeah, there were a few. Tesla told the government they didn't think any fatalities. And we know that the government is looking to other crashes involving Tesla's ADAS system that have involved fatalities. So it's hard to say if this is the end of the story. In reality, as we look at Tesla and other companies coming out with these systems, we're probably going to see a lot of these kind of software tweaks in years to come, just because this is a very dynamic environment. Tesla is updating its system on a.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing here is that it's not necessarily a recall. Number one, it's voluntarily, but number two, it is software. And I don't know. Obviously, the media is going to cover it if things go bad because that's their job. And things are not perfect with that, but it's software. And the beautiful thing about software over-the-air updates is that you can actually change these things. And that's important. And so that's what matters. Sorry, I just got a text message real quick. So at the end of the day, if it's just software updates, right, then that software can ultimately play a role. And that software playing a role then establishes the ability for people to change different things. And the ability for them to actually update software in a meaningful way is, I think, the thing that makes them so different than everyone else. Because if Ford was doing a recall like this, they can't do these types of over-the-air updates, right? And as a result, if Ford can't do over-the-air updates, if GM can't do over-the-air updates because they just don't have the technology to justify it, then then they have to. Then things aren't going to be solved. Whereas Tesla can. That's the cool thing about Tesla. I thought my connection had bad issues. Yeah, no, I just got a text message. That's why I was reading the text. I had to check if Amit was okay. Yeah, I'm good. My point is, look, Tesla is going to have problems. There's always going to be innovation. That innovation is going to be able to solve things. And as a result of their innovation, even if there are issues, FSD is going to eventually be solved, not by other companies, but by Tesla. And the media's got to coverage it. And that's why it's going to be hard to get governments to kind of approve it and get on board. But eventually, when you get them, you're going to get them. It's just going to take time for that to happen. But overall, it is what it is. Palantir could also enable over-the-air updates via Apollo. Yep. And that's another bull case that we talked about yesterday on how Palantir could work. All right, let's take a look at another video. Stock market coming to terms with interest rates rising above 5%. Let's see what that means.
We want to talk the markets right now with Ross Mayfield, investment strategy analyst at Baird, which has $360 billion in assets under management. So let's dig through this, Ross. Did the world view change yesterday just based on those hotter PPI numbers, or is this kind of the Fed moving along doing what it was intending to do, and the market just kind of maybe taking them more seriously at this point?
I think that's exactly right. I think the market is coming around to what the Fed has been saying for quite some time, which is they want to get to a terminal rate above 5% and keep it there at least for the entirety of 2023, if not into 2024, if inflation doesn't come down, to along the glide path they've set out. I don't think the market, is necessarily wrong to be skeptical of what the Fed is saying, because number one, they have to use their guidance as a tool. So they're going to be, they're going to jawbone hawkish, even if they don't necessarily mean it. And also, the market didn't go, they were saying transitory a couple of years ago, and that proved incorrect. So I don't think the market was wrong to be a little skeptical, but they're certainly coming around to Chair Powell's view at this point.
Which means what? We've seen some big gains for the first 6 weeks of the year. Do we maintain that? Do we move ahead? Do you think we give those gains back as a result?
I think the gains to start the year are appropriately pricing the possibility of a softer landing. The labor market has remained really strong. Services economy really strong. Housing actually seems to have bottomed, with mortgage rates not needing to go back down to 3% to get some activity there. So I do think the market is better pricing a soft landing. We just think the upside from here, at least in the near intermediate term, might be capped. It's hard to see valuations expanding much from here with rates at 5% or higher. And earnings are softening as rates and inflation weigh. So, we think the next leg higher might need a different catalyst. But the gains that we've made this year, I think, there might be some volatility, but are well earned.
So what do you tell investors to do at this point?
We're telling investors to stay the course, to be selective. I think our partners at Strategas, the Baird company, have called it a stock picker's market. Active outperformed last year, as much as it has in a long time. I think with rates higher and inflation higher, it's an opportunity to pick the right sectors, get in the right names that can survive and thrive in an environment like this. But mainly it's stay the course. The economy has proven stronger than pretty much anyone expected at this point, and we think there's light on the horizon.
So what are the right sectors? What are the right names?
I mean, right now, the cyclicals have been working. I think they're reflecting some of that economic momentum, things like industrials, things like materials, even things like consumer discretionary, as the consumer has proven strong. We got that retail.
You guys are all in the chat like this guy isn't saying shit. Bro, sometimes you click on a random dude and you're just like, all right, let's see what he's got to say. And then he just doesn't say shit. Stay the course, be selective. It's a stock picker's market. It's a buyer's market. It's like, all right, bro. I guess so. We got Tesla at 203. That's why it's hard to find, the right analyst. But CNBC needs anybody, right? So they'll just bring anybody on. Someone said that guy looks like Borat's cousin. Y'all are mean, bro. Y'all are fucking mean. Y'all are mean. That's hilarious. All right, what else we got? We got Roku at 71, Snowflake at 157, Lyft at 11, Beyond Meat at 17, SoFi at 684. SoFi crashing. Let's get SoFi down to $5, man. Where's Palantir then? If SoFi's crashing, Palantir. Oh, Palantir holding up okay. 955. It's not bad. I mean, again, if we stay above 9 for a while, that's and we have to go sideways. That's not bad. That's not bad. Enphase, look at that. So close down to the 200s. It's at 202. So it's getting ready to fall. Just a question of what's that catalyst. Now, their earnings were amazing, by the way. But again, they're still so highly valued that the earnings pop couldn't sustain itself because it was just, it was one of those stocks that was too ripe. And I think we've seen that with a ton of different stocks in the market. But a lot of big tech obviously has been crashed so much that earnings didn't really matter. Amit, why bus, not Lambo? Keeping the miles low. Well, getting a bus to Boston is way easier than driving a Lambo, especially because I don't have a Lambo. So, Yeah. Check out DraftKings. They killed earnings. Let's go to DraftKings. DraftKings. Wow, up 14%. What were DraftKings earnings? Let's take a look at that. DraftKings earnings. Oh, interesting. Q4 revenue 855 million versus 798 million. Wow. Not bad. They beat revenue pretty well. The EPS loss was a little bit more than expected, 53 cents a share versus 46 cents that Wall Street expected, but revenue beat was pretty strong. Yeah, DraftKings, I've never been that interested in DraftKings. I mean, it's another Kathy stock. It's got hit pretty, but what's the all-time high? 74. Okay. So 74 down to 20. 74 down to $9 at one point, now up to 20. So it's up 100% from its lows, still down about 50, 60, a little bit more than 60% down from 74. I never really understood DraftKings moat. I know it's online gambling and there's not that. I mean, there's betonline.ag. There's a couple of different casinos. DraftKings obviously has the best brand. I used to get ads for them all the time because it's legal in New Jersey, online gambling, and it was before it was legal in a lot of places. So in New Jersey, I used to just get a ton of ads for them. But they are their DraftKings, a betting site. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what it is. Does anyone hear FanDuel? That was the other name. FanDuel. Yes, there is another name, FanDuel. I don't bet on sports ever. I don't know. I never got into sports betting, but it is a big industry. Ginkgo down 5.4%. All right, so we're seeing a little bit more market crashes. NASDAQ down 1.12%. Shopify down 2.5%. Tesla wow, Tesla was at 203. Now it's at 200. Just swings on a red Friday, and it makes sense because it is Friday, so we would expect that happening. I shorted NVIDIA at the top. Feels good to pick a winner finally. Target 190. Not bad, Gabe. Not bad. You are turning into a bear that you're turning into a sell side analyst, not a buy side, which is different from when I met you. When I met you, you were a buy side analyst, basically. But now you're a sell side analyst. I don't need to buy Microsoft or Google right now. Let's take a look at this.
Today's halftime overtime B is for bottom. Alphabet shares are still trading roughly 10% off of their 2023 highs in the wake of the company's new AI product announcement. But according to Cerity Partners' Jim Lebenthal, the recent sell-off is over for this mega cap name. Listen.
It's been a week and a half since their disastrous response to Chatgpt. Stock's down 10%. It's about $140 billion in market cap loss. That's enough. It's bottomed.
All right, big call from farmer Jim Lebenthal. I mean, you used to own this and you sold it to buy Meta, the aforementioned stock that's now up a lot that was down last year.
Right.
What about his call?
That's tempting because the stock is still down 30% from a year ago and it trades at 17 times. And so, I was kind of looking at it at the end of last year, but I think they're going to have some serious problems in search. They have a 90% market share in search. Bing has 3%. So for every
Microsoft, you're talking about.
That's right. Microsoft's Bing has 3%. For every 5 percentage point change in market share for Alphabet, that's 9 to 10% hit to operating income and earnings. And so I don't know if we have a sense as to where the numbers are going to go. That's number one. Number two, we got YouTube. That's decelerating. And you had the head of YouTube just leave today, which is disappointing. And then you have cloud, which is fine. Cloud is still growing at 32%, but the margins are negative. So I kind of put it all together and I'm like, I just don't know where earnings are going to come in at. And you have a lot of moving parts at this point.
So you think that the Microsoft AI push was a game changer?
I do.
You're making the case for that.
I do. I mean, it doesn't take much to go from 3% to 10%.
Why aren't you looking at that stock then instead of looking and saying that Alphabet's tempting?
Because that stock is trading at 26 times forward estimates. So I get it. Yes, I can see a case for that. And cloud is obviously still very exciting for them as well. But I just think that's too expensive, at least for me. But I don't really necessarily need to buy either of them. I don't have to be involved in either of them, especially when I have still this Meta, which even though it's up a lot, it still trades at 2 multiple point discount to Alphabet.
You still look at Meta as a project, so to speak, that, you do.
I do.
You're looking at me, you do.
Yeah, I do. I really do. I mean, there's a lot they need to fix. And there's a lot more in costs that they can cut. They cut 11,000 jobs. last quarter, right, in November, when they made that big announcement. 4 quarters before that, they hired 19,000 people. So they have still so much that they can cut, which I think they will. But I think the jury is still out on Reels. They still have to make progress there. But overall, I like their DAUs and MAUs, and I think that they're going to be around. They're going to be a survivor. We just got to get through this slump. But I think the easy money has been made on Meta, but I want to stay with it for the very reasons that I just mentioned.
You're not exactly making a bullish case for the mega caps.
No. Well, I don't really think that.
But you don't trust the fact that the valuations have come down enough. We're going like stock by stock by stock, and you're telling me why they could have further problems and they're too rich.
Well, I would say, Meta's not too rich, and there's things that Meta can do, a lot they can do on the cost side of things. And I think as they do that will get rewarded. But there are a lot of unknowns with Alphabet. There are a lot of unknowns. By the way, there's a lot of unknowns with Amazon, and that stock is extremely expensive. And he wants to double down on physical stores now. I mean, what do you have, right? It seems a little desperate to me.
Well, it's why some of these things actually may deserve the premium that they get. Like the Microsoft doesn't.
Well,
just because, I mean, it's not as much of a premium as it was, right?
Well, it's still very expensive for what you're getting, and you have a decelerating cloud business, right? And it's not a foregone conclusion that they are going to be successful with AI and Bing. I'm just making the case for Alphabet. They got a competitor that they didn't have just 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
You know, she's making a lot of interesting points, especially around the Microsoft versus Google debate. We have Chris in the chat saying he's adding slowly. They're forgetting Google has 100 billion in cash. They have 80 billion in free cash flow. Look, if they actually get disrupted in search, then yeah, there might be an issue with their operating income and their margins. But that begs the question of, do they actually get disrupted in search? And does Microsoft actually find a way to capitalize and benefit off of that? YouTube deceleration. I mean, I think that's just because 2020 and COVID was crazy for YouTube, and obviously things have come down. I don't think that's necessarily a problem with YouTube per se. YouTube, 2.3 billion active users every month, 34 billion monthly visits. Susan Wojcicki stepping down yesterday was interesting. I didn't expect the head of YouTube to step down. Honestly, I don't think it's a YouTube thing. I think like she's tired. Like she's been doing it for a long time. She's built YouTube to be incredibly big. She's been at Google for 25 years. So I think her stepping down was less of a, it just doesn't seem like a YouTube thing. It doesn't seem like YouTube slowing down, or it doesn't seem like the executives that left Spotify, that those reasons might have been because maybe they thought there were better opportunities. I don't think there's a better social media or a content opportunity than YouTube. I mean, like we all know that's the case, right? But I think she's stepping down because she's tired. And so the YouTube thing is not that worrisome to me. The only thing that's worrisome is if Microsoft cuts into search, and if they don't cut into search that massively, then it's not going to be that bad. Chris has some opinions on Susan. SoFi isn't crashing, it's market related. Yeah, I mean crashing. I mean like everything's going down. Susan's decisions, she survived the adpocalypse in 2017, if you guys remember, when a lot of channels lost a lot of revenue because advertisers, I think she's always had to adapt to advertisers in an interesting way. Definitely YouTube has been a little bit more on the censorship side. I mean, if you say a curse word within the first 8 seconds, you're done. So it's at the end of the day, they're trying to build a platform that they can suit for all advertisers, which is the hard part. Are you wearing a Ouija shirt? Yes. I remember, guys, I told you I did an interview with Richard Barlow, CEO of Ouija. Their press team has not cleared the interview yet. So as soon as they clear the interview, they have to they're under such tight pressure at the SEC for whatever reason. So as soon as they clear it, I will post it and it'll be up there. All right. Last thing before I go, well, a couple things. One, I'm putting out a video today. I want to give you guys a sneak preview of the video. It's I did it outside, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to play like the first 5 seconds of it. So you see the video. This is kind of cool, right? All right, here we go.
And that is the unique benefit of Palantir.
Okay, that's it. That's it. So you guys are going to see the video today. It's me spitting what I think is hot fire outside for 5 minutes. On top of a balcony. So you guys are going to see that. It's a different type of video. You guys are going to see it. Final things I want to say. First of all, thank you all for joining the Market Open this entire week. It's been awesome. Thank you all for being here. And it's been great. We had a great Palantir earnings live stream. We had a great Palantir weekly podcast last night. So super, super awesome stuff. I appreciate everyone. Please follow the Twitter. Twitter's in the description. You'll get to follow my adventures in Boston. So please check it out. And again, if anyone's in Boston, I will be there this weekend. Let me know if you are there. We can grab some coffee. It'll be on me. And I would love to get to meet any of you that are in the area. Again, DM on Twitter, @AdamItIsInvesting. Link is also in the description. Okay, I want to give my word of the day and quote of the day, and then we're done. Word of the day, is anachronism. 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 I'm definitely saying this thing wrong. An anachronism is an error in which something in a movie, story, etc. is placed in a time where it does not belong. It can refer to a person or thing that seems to belong to the past and does not fit in the present. So if I had a snowflake logo in the background instead of a Palantir logo, that would be an anachronism. Anachronism. I'm saying it so wrong. I don't know why I'm saying it so wrong, but anachronism. That's what it would be. Okay. And then finally, now that we did the word of the day, I need to give the quote of the day. Let me load this up real quick. All right, here we go. Quote of the day. Are you guys ready for this one? Are you guys ready? The quote of the day is from Friedrich Nietzsche, French philosopher. The quote is, "I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and the impossible." I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and the impossible. Basically meaning, go for it and let yourself die in the process, because the purpose of actually attempting to do the thing that you want to do is so great and so much more meaningful than anything else that there is just no better life purpose other than perishing in attempting the great and the impossible. Okay, that's it. That's it for me. Bro, just type the word into Google. Amit will drive a bus to Vegas and pick people up on the way. You guys are all clowning me in the chat. Nietzsche is German. Oh, I meant German. Shit. No, you're right. You're right. I was thinking of a different philosopher. Nietzsche is absolutely German. I've studied Nietzsche. I should know this. He's not French. He's not French. He's German. I'm happy you guys know Nietzsche, though. A lot of people don't know him. Okay. All right. That's it for me. Thank you all. I appreciate you guys. I will see you later on the Market Open on Monday, and have a couple more videos coming out today. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.